You can imagine a warm summer evening in South Carolina. A thunderstorm starts to build, and lightning hits a tree and ignites a fire. And these forests burned every 2 to 3 years. Fire has always been part of this ecosystem.
It is really counterintuitive, but actually that low-intensity prescribed burning, it maintains the balance in this overall system.
A lot of people are always concerned if you're going to burn a forest, it's not going to recover. Well, right behind me is a forest that just had prescribed burning on it 5 weeks ago. I think when you bring in the human dimension to the ecosystem, there's a lack of understanding of what fire means on a landscape and the dependency of that. Because of that, fire has been suppressed for years. The underbrush changed, and that changes the dynamics of the system, which then changes the dynamics of the species and the survival of those species.
Is there enough seed out there? Is that something that is really kind of viable for them? Longleaf pine once covered about 90 million acres in the southeast and got down to just about 3%, and now we're back up to about 5.2 million acres. Working with private landowners is critical. They own over 80% of lands across the southeast.
4 or 5 years, those pines will be 6-8 foot tall. Oh yeah. It's something we kind of done in our family, my whole life,
I didn't have a big preconception of what longleaf pine was. Having seen it now, my overriding impression is that it looks like a tree out of a Dr. Seuss book, especially in the earlier stages of growth. It's this kind of ridiculous, shaggy-looking tree with needles that are the better part of a foot long. It appears to start slow, but a lot is happening underground.
Yeah, these trees are incredible. They're able to adapt and become resilient to the threats and pressures around them.
They are resistant to many pests and diseases, drought tolerant, fire adapted. They're also wind resistant. And with the carbon capture benefits, longleaf is really well adapted for our changing climate.
As an agency, one of our primary responsibilities is the recovery effort of the longleaf pine ecosystem for future generations and providing habitat for other threatened and endangered species, such as RCW, which is called red-cockaded woodpeckers.
It's on the tree.
A keystone species for this ecosystem because it literally needs longleaf trees to survive.
Gopher tortoise is one of my favorite keystone species, and we like to refer to it as an ecosystem engineer because it's engineering habitat for over 300 other species that'll use that burrow.
How long do they live for?
I think at least 60, 70 years. They outlive the researchers, so it's hard to know.
Oh my God.
It's hard to know, yeah.
Our partnership with the Bezos Earth Fund continues to grow, building off our first year's investments where we funded over 124 projects across the country, really focusing on improving and restoring habitats that sequester carbon but also support wildlife. We really used what we've learned in that first year to strategically focus on a couple of landscapes. And the longleaf ecosystem is one of those landscapes that we are focusing on.
At the Bezos Earth Fund, we're building our restoration portfolio to really focus on the handful of landscapes around the world where locally led restoration can have a globally significant impact. When we think about a big, bold goal like protecting and restoring 8 million acres of land, we really need to be thinking about the direct implementation of these activities on the ground, and we need to be thinking about the systems change that needs to happen around these really great locally led efforts so that they can grow, replicate, and scale rapidly. And those criteria brought us here to the longleaf system. That's where NFWF has been such a great partner because we can work together at both of those levels.
South Carolina and the entire longleaf ecosystem is just an amazing hotbed of biodiversity. Animals that are here and the diversity that is here is just rivals things you would see in the Amazon. Such a diverse set of species and habitat that it's really important to protect.